Well, hello, hello. It's so good to see everybody here today. We got a couple of stories that I really want to talk about. First of all, I want to thank um, Betty R. Betty R. I always comment about Betty R putting up great things over on her Instagram. And I like the stuff that she posts. Some of it is very entertaining and some is very intriguing. And one of the stories that she put up um, over on Instagram just yesterday I found to be very alarming because here's the deal. Whenever you have children, you want to give them vitamins, you want to take care of them. Well, one of the stories that she had put up yesterday, they actually had a disclaimer splattered right there on the front of it. It was just splattered right there. Like, hey, this has to be fact checked, or it was fact checked. But here's the deal, you guys are going to get the full story. Can't see it that good. Hey, how's it going there? How's it going there, Cleo? And hello, Lady Melinda. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stuff. We're covering a lot of little stuff. Hello, how are you, Leslie? I've been sick for the past few days, so you guys haven't seen me. But oh, we're doing better. Thank goodness. I had some of Dr. B's vitamin C, some of his iron, and a few other things that are real helpful to my body. And so recovering wonderfully. Recovering wonderfully. As well, I've been drinking a lot of water lately, but I got to do a little bit better research on some of the water. I do drink the mineral water that's in the big green bottle, but I've also got, the regular standard little Hope or the best bottles. And I tell you, it's almost like not drinking water. So I think it's something going on. But here's the deal. Hey, Joy. Hey, girl, I don't know what it was. The boys went to football practice. Maybe, Joy, they drug something back. Who knows? And with everything that's going on today, who knows? But I'm doing good. I'm here. All right, let's look at this. I pulled this for you all. We're going to talk about Trump. We're just going to actually chill today and just talk about a lot of stuff, right? We're going to talk about Trump, Mar-a-Lago. We're going to talk about New York State. But the first thing that I really want to talk about is something that is near and dear to my heart because you give your babies this. And it broke my heart. But it really bothered me when I saw the whole fact check thing pop up all over online. Now, I had to do this. I had to go here. You guys know me. I had to go here. I have to go to the actual company to pull what they say because I don't want to hear what a fact checker says. I want to hear what the company says. So this is what we pulled. And yeah, that's Bear. Let me give it the whole screen. You know how we got to do here. I got to give you the whole screen. And let me make it a little larger if it will allow that because it may or may not do it. Yeah, it does. All right. And then I can also make it bigger here for us to see. Oh, there it is. Okay. I think you guys can see it fairly. So now, in all fairness, that's their seal, isn't it? I don't understand why we've got the fact checkers. I don't understand, Sandra. Black B, I don't get it. Kyle Sellers, I don't know why. Mark Schumann, watch one alert. Nobody will tell me why. We got to have fact checkers, and this is their stuff. Well, this is the route that I chose to take because I don't feel like going through all the fact check stuff. No, listen here. Flintstones complete chewable. Let's go all the way down here. This is the rub. That is cyanide. That is cyanide. It's just a bottom basement thing. It's just what it is, and that's what's in it. But it's also in several other things. So it does say here that the Flintstones Complete Chewable. It gives you the directions. It tells you the supplemental facts. It goes down and tells you the percent daily values and what they're based on. A 2,000 calorie diet. It gives you all of the ingredients to include the calcium carbonate, the sorbitol. You got all kinds of stuff that nobody could ever pronounce. But then you get down to that cyanide cobalamin. Cyanide cobalamin. That is most assuredly cyanide. So B12, turn it into B12. So you see where it says B12? The B12 they're talking about is derived from that one thing. But let's go on ahead here and let you see some information about the cyanocobalamin. You know what bothers me? They steal the stuff that Yah gave us, that God gave us to keep us healthy and well, and then they give us this stuff with this weirdo name, and then we're supposed to just trust it. And you know what I said the other week about the phrase trusting anything, whether you trust the science, whether you trust this or that, anything you put trust in is what now is your God. Why? Because you trust it for sustenance. Yeah, that's right. That's what you do. So let's look at this. I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. But let's go ahead and look here. I'm going to show you right here. One more. Here you go. It's an overview. Foods, materials, technologies, and risks. Vitamin B12. I'm not going to keep saying that name, that cyanocobalamin. Cyanocobalamin. All right? Cyanocobalamin. That's it. We're going to stick with that. And if it's not, oh well. So cyanocobalamin. The vitamin is known as cyanocobalamin antipernicious and extrinsic. There you go. And extrinsic factor. It consists of a class of chemically related compounds such as its two coenzyme forms, methylcobalamin and 5-dexo something something demonic, okay? That display vitamin activity. This vitamin can be synthesized by bacteria, fungi, algae, some ruminants or cattle, from cattle and sheep. You know what that means, okay? And they can obtain it from endogenous bacterial activity. Please. The vitamin can be synthesized by bacteria, fungi, algae, some ruminants, cattle and sheep, and it can be obtained from endogenous bacteria activity. Don't forget that we were talking about the endogenous porso, the pigs just recently. Please understand. Viscera such as the liver and kidneys, meats, eggs, dairy products, and fish are good sources of this vitamin. It naturally occurs in the animal kingdom only, and its presence is negligible in plants and vegetables. For this reason, vegans usually have vitamin deficiency, and therefore they need to increase their dietary intake of the vitamin with vitamins and supplements. At the present, there are some enriched plant proteins or products available, such as fortified cereals. The lack of the cobalamin or its derivatives leads to a shortfall in the transport of the methyl groups, which adversely affects purine synthesis and therefore causes a deficiency in the cell multiplication process. This deficiency mainly affects the bone marrow, where the formation of blood cells occurs. So it may result in a serious medical condition called pernicious anemia. Okay? Another important alteration is a neuropathy that can be fatal due to a discontinuous, diffuse, and progressive demyelination. I believe that's where the myelin sheaths lose their protection. I believe that's what that is. No, it is. Yeah, this produces sensory disturbances in the legs, tingling and numbness, loss of concentration or memory disorientation, and dementia. Unlike other water-soluble vitamins, vitamin B12 is stored in the liver, and therefore its deficiency may arise months after a low or a very low dietary intake. As to their toxicity, it is advised to avoid it under the myeloproliferative conditions, especially leukemia. Nevertheless, no toxicity cases have been reported for high doses of this vitamin. Okay? So that's what it's telling you, but here you go. The acute cyanide toxicity and its treatment in the body is dead and may be and may be red, but does not stay red for long. Let me explain something to you guys. What I was able to uncover last night while reading about this is that it literally goes into the body, but it removes a piece of it, and then what's left is just the cyanide molecule just sort of sitting there floating around in the body. So, what does the body do with that? I mean, you can do the same thing if you got a whole boatload of old apple seeds and you crush those up and you try to eat those, you'll get equally as ill, right? Right, because that's cyanide. But what this does is, while it's in the children's body with these vitamins and other things that we'll find here, it literally takes off that component. And once that component is done, now you just got that floating around. Well, you remember that? Melinda says, Mom also had a big old jar of peppermints right next to the cod liver oil. That's what we used to use. I see Alan Daviston snuck in here. Hey, right? We used to use a lot of healthy things that kept us okay. Yes, the myelin sheaths cannot be regenerated at all, Zelra and Rosha. At all. So they've been playing with the body for quite some time. They've been playing with a lot of the things that you trust and I trust, and we really feel like we're doing the right things. There's a lot of people who go out and purchase different vitamins and things of that nature. So that way, they can help to keep themselves healthy. And it's amazing because you're not only paying for the stuff that has the bad stuff in it, but then you got to go and get taken care of by the doctor because of the bad stuff that's in it. So here it is. Did you know that many of the vitamin B12 supplements contain small amounts of cyanide? Many people assume that the mass market vitamin manufacturers have your best interest in mind when developing and selling products. Roaming the aisles in the store, you will find thousands of natural products in this category that you may not think twice about. However, after taking a closer look, you will find a dark side of this industry, especially supplement companies that are owned by pharmaceutical giants like Bayer. How is the cyanide found in B12? Well, the form of B12 used in nearly all mass market vitamins is called the cyanide, calambadaba word that we're not going to mess with again. This is a cyanide based form of B12, and it is the most common form on the market, unknown to most consumers. It is found in a wide range of vitamins and foods as a synthetic additive. The form of B12 is used because it's so cheap. This form is made via chemical synthesis from the mammalian tissues or recovered from the activated sewage sludge. Literally, sewage sludge. Now, we just got through talking about the other terms when we put it very, very nicely when we talked about the two different types of animals, cattle, sheep. Yeah, sewage sludge. All right. Now, the story goes on to say, ew, gross. Another reason why it is used is that it is quite stable and it won't easily perish. However, despite most vitamin manufacturers using this form, it is not the ideal form of vitamin B12. That is because the cyanide must be removed from the cobalamin in order for the cobalamin to perform its biological roles in the body. People with higher toxic body burden or higher cyanide exposure are less likely to be able to properly detoxify the additional toxins, such as the cyanide they consume through their supplements. This could be quite dangerous as the body's toxic burden will eventually hit a threshold where it will no longer be able to handle any more toxins of any kind. It is quite interesting that the cyanocobalamin is listed in the government's toxic database as generally known or suspected to cause serious health problems. It's also on the list of toxins that the EPA must regulate, set a standard for, and try to reduce or eliminate. So, That is, and I made sure that I printed everything this time, you guys, because remember the last time I was telling you there was something that I was researching. Oh, I know, the woman who was running away from a car in California during the whole, Pelosi thing. And then I went back to find it and it was gone. So now when I find stuff like this, I just print it. But again, who I want to thank for this, is Betty R. Because Betty R was the one who put it on her Instagram, and I had to click because they had fact checked it. And it was literally just one lady sitting there with a man talking for a couple of seconds. And they wanted to go through all the hubbub. Well, here's all the evidence. And I'm going to leave you guys the links. I didn't put them in there now because I don't want any issues. But what I want to let you know is that this is necessary. It most assuredly is. It's necessary for us to know this. So I don't know, is Betty here? I hope Betty is here. If not, she'll catch it on the replay. But yeah, she had it on her Instagram, and I'd love to show you. Um, but the deal is it was a little lady just had this guy talking, and I said, "Get out of town." But then as I went to look for it, everywhere I went to look, it kept popping up saying, well, here's a fact check, here's a PolitiFact, here's this fact. And I'm like, well, why are they doing it? Which is the reason why we started with the very first documentation that we pulled up. Why? Because it's from Bear. You should be able to be called. You should be able to be called on the carpet instead of pulling the fact checkers. You put it in you know what's in there. I don't understand why we're all so tiptoeing across the tulips with stuff anymore. I really don't. Well, this is crazy. I have so much stuff that I pulled, so many things, and I had to use a totally different. This is what I don't like. You're doing really mean stuff, and then when a person's looking for it, you want to hide it from them. That's not nice. I had to actually use a totally different browser to find it. Couldn't find any information. None. So here I got loads and loads of stuff. Anyway, folks, I'm going to make sure that especially for the members of the channel, I'm going to just start a cache of information. Okay? Just a cache of information for you all so that you guys can have it at your disposal. All right? So that way you guys know exactly where to go if you want to get some information on the story that we've already covered. And you guys will have it there. So I'm going to leave this to you guys. There's a lot of extensive stuff, like the hydroxycobalamin turning cyanide into B12. This document here breaks it all down, and it's got all the peer review stuff. How can you say something that was peer reviewed, handled by Dr. such and such and PhD such and such and MA such and such, all of these people, how do you dispute this with a PolitiFact by somebody out of the country who wants nothing more than to disprove the truth? Why? Let's call things what it is, you guys. This is a serious situation because they're fact-checking truth. That's a problem. And they're not even here. They're not even in our country. Again, this is just a standard conversation. Haven't been with you guys in 5 days. I think one of the grandkids brought something from football, but it's okay. But we are going to dig a little deeper into a few other things, okay? A little lighter. It's heavy, but it's a little lighter. Okay? Yahuwah, how are you today? Good to see you. Lord says, Chungus Khan. Fifi is a prisoner's makeshift wife. Okay. That's funny. Apricot seeds. That's right. Apricot seeds. Apples, cherries. Mm-hmm. Yes. Very, very true. Watchful. Hey, Jules, what's been going on with ya? Did you take the oil after eating on an empty stomach? Are you talking to me, baby love? Carlson's cod liver. Oh, okay. I see what you're talking. It's another conversation. Just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing you. Okay. All right, you guys, I'm going to pull up another story here. Let's just keep it going. We're going to keep it rolling. We're going to keep it rolling because we got some more info to talk about. Let's talk about Mr. Naranga. Mr. Naranga. Let's talk about him. Why they say that probably wasn't a good idea to do what they did. Here we go. Okay. All right. Can you see it? Should I make it bigger? I think it should. Okay. You know, my bed has been my best friend for the past few days. And I have to tell you guys, and this is not a plug, this is because I'm not pushing this right now, but I tell you one thing, I have never been so happy for that my pillow top thing I got. Oh my God. I have not felt good at all. At all. But that thing, oh, made me feel so much better. So here it is. As Talleyrand once remarked of a particular egregious act on the part of his oft capricious master, Napoleon Bonaparte, that it was worse than a crime. It was a mistake. That famous quote is, it seems, to capture the situation that Democrats have now found themselves in and following the raid on Donald Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago. Taking a step back from the justifiable outrage of the recent FBI raid on Mar a Lago and from concerns over the damage it inflicted on the reputation of law enforcement and freeing respect for partisan norms, a bigger mystery emerges. What precisely did the Biden administration and Attorney General Merrick Garland in particular hope the raid would accomplish if they approved it? And what possible justification exists which would justify for Democrats throwing away the argument on which they have hung their opposition to Donald Trump both in and out of office for the last 7 years about the importance of quote unquote norms over the strict letter of what is legal? The answers are not pretty. We know now Attorney General Merrick Garland authorized the raid personally, ostensibly over a dispute regarding classified material. We further know that the DOJ and the FBI have been in talks with the former president's team for months, and twice, upon request, documents have been transferred to DC. Two conclusions emerge. First, that it was clearly possible to settle these disputes over the security of documents civilly and without a recourse to force. Secondly, even if negotiations had broken down temporarily over a particular document, the urgency of any raid must be called into question. Whatever documents were at the center of the dispute, whether nuclear or related to French President Emmanuel Macron, they had been in Mar a Lago for over 18 months. The onus of the FBI and the Biden administration must be to prove why their presence in Florida does not pose a threat to national security, justifying this sort of unprecedented raid for 18 months, but somehow did in month 19. Let us first consider the most generous interpretation that Garland, like Victor Hugo's Inspector Javert from Les Miserables, one of my favorites, master of the house, no, just joking. Okay, let me keep going. Believes that there is no potential crime too petty to justify treating it like a terrorist plot. Javert was an illustration of how blind principle could produce stupidity bordering on madness. In this case, if any such individual believes that the presence of insecure classified records at Mar-a-Lago posed a national security threat, the nature of this raid ensures that the most critical national security concerns will be impossible to accomplish. Learning what records are missing and where they are is far more important to the American national security than recovering a portion of them. Now, if the FBI knows what is missing, it can take steps to remedy any vulnerabilities. Yet, by raiding the home of the former president, the FBI has ensured a lack of further cooperation by both Donald Trump even if he wished to cooperate with, will not be permitting to do so by his lawyers and by the local law enforcement. Even if the FBI officials were entirely disinterested in the partisan dynamics of the issue and merely concerned with the letter of the law and national security, they have left themselves and the country worse off. If the FBI can get off with pig-headedness, even if malice seems plausible, the Biden administration cannot get off so easily. After all, they, along with the congressional Democrats and the media, have spent years lecturing everyone about the vital importance of norms. So they love that. The premise of the Democratic discourse about norms is that there are informal rules on which the American system is founded that may not be strictly legal or constitutional, but they serve a strong regulatory function. While it has become clear that many of these norms have been distorted or hijacked through institutional capture to advance a woke or partisan agenda, there is truth that norms have played an important role in the human society. The heart of any conception of norms is that there are things that you could legally do, but you do not because the consequences of doing so would be undesirable. Now, the irony of the raid is that it is perhaps the best example of the clash between norms and laws. It might very well be the case that some classified documents were unaccounted for that the FBI had reason to believe that might be at Mar-a-Lago, and that technically this was a justification for a search warrant. It was also the case that Donald Trump was a former president. Joe Biden was his opponent in a bitterly contested election, and there remains a strong prospect of a rematch. Such a raid would involve armed law enforcement ultimately answering to Joe Biden being used to raid the home of his possible opponent in the next election. Now, even if the raid was legal and the documents real, that would have to be weighed against the perception the action was partisan. The destruction of faith in the institution of the FBI, which has been long grown, and the tradition of not persecuting political opponents within the American system. Just as Democrats argued Donald Trump should have foregone legal challenges he was entitled to undertake after the election, the exact same argument would have applied even more strongly to forging this raid, given the likely damage to vital institutions. Instead, the Biden administration decided that when it comes to norms, only Donald Trump is obligated to follow them. Well, that's the truth. Their hands are tied when some partisan lawyers present them with a brief telling them what they want to hear. It is stunning that this is the argument they have gone with. In the realm of public opinion, the raid took place on an issue that, even to partisans, looks petty, even for the MSNBC watching wine moms of America, the purported audience of the January 6th hearings misplacing classified material sounds like jaywalking when contrasted to the charges of coups, foreign plots, and other intrigues. The justification for the raid is one that even those who claim the former president attempted some sort of coup cannot pretend to believe is important. The effect is to destroy the relative importance of the reasons why Democratic partisans hate the former president by suggesting that an unprecedented raid on a man who may well be a candidate for the president again in 2024 is justified on whatever basis is available because he is a threat to the Constitution, is to confirm all of the charges that they are out to get Donald Trump specific reasons to be determined later. The norms argument is always conveniently one sided when it comes from the Democrats. It applied to Donald Trump when it came to personal appointments, personal access to Twitter, the 2020 election. But did it apply to the Democrats or their supporters when it came to the Supreme Court? But if the argument suffered from hypocrisy already, its reduction to a technicality has finally killed it. By ordering the raid, the Biden administration has asserted that allegedly mishandling of various documents is more important than the reputation of the nation's top law enforcement agencies or the integrity of the constitutional system in the eyes of tens of millions. And if, as is plausible, they saw political advantage in the raid, then they are willing to trade their own short-term political advantage for that same discrediting of institutions. In either case, it appears to have been worse than a crime in destroying their own rationale for opposition to Donald Trump. Democrats may have made a mistake of historic proportions. There's a lot of this that I agree with. There's a lot of it that I agree with. I try to be, let's just be honest. I used to really love Mr. Naranga, the orange guy. I did. I loved him. But I'm going to tell you something. Just the act itself was egregious. Just what was done itself was tacky. It was tacky. The whole deal was tacky. Hey, good day from the UK. Good day to you too. SKSX. Plays in the dirt. How have you been? So I just want to say that. That's what I want to say. Listen, we know that it's all an act. We know that it's two sides of the same coin because that's what I believe. I do believe that. But by the same token, there is some filth being thrown around, and I'm not dumb. And I can see that. Okay? I can see that. I don't believe that everything is as scripted as we think. I do think that they are doing some real dirty stuff. Because if the cap didn't mean anything, they wouldn't be bringing him up at all. But they keep dragging him, and they keep dragging him for filth. Shalom, Bethany. Yes, princess, you got it right. Okay? They keep dragging him for filth. We can be down on him. We can punch him too. We can do all of that stuff too. But I'm gonna just say this: right is right and wrong is wrong. And I don't care who does it. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. That whole Mar-a-Lago thing was garbage. It was garbage. Hey, Brian, how have you been? Right? It's a mess. Is this another pizza thing? I don't think so. I don't know. I just think that, man, I just wish that we could just get everything fixed. Just I really do believe that we need a the whole, what's that the line? The whole town needs an enema, the whole country. The whole entire government. This is a real mess. It's a real mess. Hey there, Sandy. How you doing? Good to see you. Max Vision. How have you been? He who is in power get the big money. It's just sad. It's just really sad that this is where we are. It didn't make any sense. And so whatever the point that they were trying to make, I don't know what it is. Maybe they were trying to, to me, it looks like you just drummed up some votes from the conservatives that were on the fence. Okay. To me, I mean, I would not be shocked if people like myself, not necessarily that I'm going to do this, but if there were people who said, I don't want anything else to do with this judicial system. I don't want anything else to do with the politics or the political system here in the United States. I don't want anything to do with any of it. I'm not voting anymore. I'm leaving it all alone unless it's local. I'm just leaving it alone. I would not be surprised if this thing here did not pull out a lot of people who felt like that ended up saying, that's it. I'm just going to vote this time. This will be the last time, and I'm going to vote for him. I can see a lot of people saying that. And it's because of stuff like this that people would go back and say it. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I believe. I believe that that's what would happen. I believe that there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to say, forget it, I'm back. I'm going to put my gloves back on. I do. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And you're going to find a whole lot of people that's going to rush back out and give him support. And the sad part is because of garbage like this. This whole thing was unnecessary. It just looks so weird. I mean, I do feel like they don't do anything without it being planned. I do feel like that. But you know what? There's also a lot of goofiness going on up there. Listen, I don't think they're that smart to do everything completely by a plan. Okay? I just don't. Now let's see, what is this? Trump records negotiator warns of Russiagate. Man, what is this about? I don't know if you guys can still hear me because I clicked over to the other side. Tell me if you guys can hear me. Okay. Let me know if I'm 5 by 5 because I'm going back over to the other side to read this thing. All right. So it says Trump records negotiator warns of Russiagate materials cover up. The Justice Department officials appear to be maneuvering to block the disclosure of documents from the so-called Russiagate controversy, according to a top Pentagon official from the Trump administration. Kash Patel appeared on Fox News on Sunday and defended former President Donald Trump, his claims that he issued sweeping declassification orders of documents after the FBI raided his Mar-a-Lago resort and seized more than a dozen boxes of materials in the investigation. Let me ask y'all a question. Make sure that I'm understanding what I just read. Does that sound like he took the information that was showing that they're up to some stuff? I tell you, you guys, if this man gets back in another 3.5 years, all of the ugly and everything that we have been experiencing over the past almost going on 2 years now with this existing seated gentleman, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna tell you something. This whole thing is gonna be a wreck. This whole thing is going to be a wreck because technically, while you're running for a president, you really only do 3.5 years, really, when you consider it, because you got a handful of months that you're doing all the, all of the campaigning and all of the everything. This guy's never stopped campaigning. He's never stopped raising any money. He's never stopped doing it. He's never stopped. He's never stopped. And I believe that there's a little bit more that he wants to do. I believe there's a lot more that he wants to do. Okay. I believe that. I believe there's a lot more that he wants to do. Sad part is, I don't want anything to do with any of it. I was looking at some places that you could go to retire in the United States, that, from the United States. If you're in the United States, there's a couple of countries, few countries. There's Ecuador, there's Portugal, there's a whole bunch of other places you can consider. I just sort of want to get someplace and have a big pot of, big bowl of popcorn and just sit there and pop one at a time where nothing can affect me. That's exactly what I feel like. I just want to sit and grub up. Well, yeah, and you know what, Melinda? That's exactly right. We all know that. We all know this. You feel me? Yeah, that's exactly why I said it, Sandy. You know me. That's exactly why I said it. Okay? So that would be that 3.5 on the front end. Homeboy would have that 3.5 on the back end. And then everything, including the field and the plot of land as you take a little drone and look over in Israel will all make sense. The coin will make sense. Every bit of it's going to make sense. If that dude gets in, you got the 3.5 years on the front end. You got the 3.5 years on the back end. If that dude gets in, no, he might not. He may not make it. He may not even run again. They may try to put him away with this. Yeah, they may try to put the nail in the proverbial coffin. But if that dude gets in, please trust and believe that the field in Israel will all make sense. That the coin with the syringe will all make sense. That the Abraham Accord and all the other stuff will all make sense. It will all make sense. Huh? It's just a thought. Who am I? I'm a little old lady. I'm a grandmother. Nobody. Nobody at all. Nope. Nobody. Nope. Don't pay me any mind. Bethany Ephraim Nakash. Yep. But that ain't the dude. That's a part of the dude. That's a part of the dude. That's a part of the dude. But that ain't the dude. That ain't the dude. That dude is what you see happening right now. For all their reasons. Okay? For all of their reasons. Okay? All of their reasons. Brian Manuel. Well, I stress the British part of it in league with the FBI because we fought the War of Independence. That's the Declaration. What the Declaration declares. We cannot be united if we have declared independence. What I'd like for us to all do, I frankly wouldn't mind going back to Mississippi and letting us just leave these people alone. I would love one state to just leave just begin to secede everybody and just get yourself some righteous people. Everybody just secede. One state after another. I wish it could happen. We know it won't. Okay? You can say I'm a nobody too, just a great grandmother. You know what I'm saying? That way they shouldn't get offended. We're just girls and guys just tossing our thoughts around. That's it. Don't be offended. Don't be offended at all. Now let's take a look at something, because this is what's concerning the United States right now. We've had more fentanyl and other illegal drugs coming across our southern border in the past. That's absolutely amazing. In the most recent past, within the last couple of months, we've had a lot. This story comes from one of our mods. Wonderful, lovely lady who helps us all the time with great stories, Rachel Van Ziel. So it is the state of New York. Curious. I'm very curious as to why. I'm very curious. Does anybody know anything about this medication? So the New York State Health Department issues pharmacy standing order for Naxolone. Are they expecting something? Are they expecting some type of abundance in cases? Or is it because they've had so many cases? What's the deal? Well, the story was August 14th, which is today, and comes out of Western New York News Now. So don't get mad at me, get mad at them, blame them, because they're the ones that's giving us the goods, the information. There you go. New York State has announced a statewide pharmacy standing order for naloxone, or is it naloxone, beginning on Monday. It's a medication that is used to block the effects of opioids, allowing a person to regain consciousness and resume normal breathing. According to the state health department, some pharmacy chains have provided their own standing orders. Those standing orders combined covered more than 2,600 pharmacies. The health department says that the standing order will apply to all pharmacies in New York State. The pharmacies will not need to apply individually for a standing order or, to start dispensing it to their customers. The pharmacies that already got it, they have a standing order, they can continue to use what they got. Here's a quote. Naxolone is a critical tool in addressing the overdose epidemic and has prevented thousands of overdose deaths across New York State. This was the Office of Addiction Services and Supports Commissioner, Chinazo Cunningham. Chinazo continues with making it easier to obtain this life-saving medication will mean more individuals have a meaningful chance to receive services and supports to assist in improving their health. OASAS looks forward to ongoing collaboration with the State Department of Health through our newly announced harm reduction unit as we continue this and other efforts to support New Yorkers and their families who have been impacted by addiction. Okay, let me tell you what bothers me. This is what you're fixing. But what you doing with the drug dealers that's coming into New York when you arrest them? I'm holding. What's the story with people who traffic? If they get arrested in your city, if they get arrested in your area, what happens to them? Do they get released? Do they get released on their own recognizances? What happens? What happens? It's a good question. It's just a question. It's nothing to be personal. Don't get mad. Just get right. My brother Brian says, it makes anyone on painkillers for any reason even more addicted to those meds because it blocks the effect of the pain medication. What are they really trying to do? What is the true goal here? Man, we got the lunatics running this asylum, dude. I'm telling you, this stuff right here is nuts. It's batty. It's harm that causes harms, Zellerin says. Harm that causes harm. Do you see this? This is, I'm just waiting for Bane to pop up. That's all. That's all. I'm just waiting for Bane to pop up. That's the only thing. You know what? That will let me know that I'm not going crazy. There's an old song. I used to love it. So you want me to say no to drugs in your over-the-counter culture? You want me to say no to drugs in your over-the-counter culture? You want me to say no to drugs in your over-the-counter culture? You got a drug for everything. And then you got a drug to keep you on the drugs. Because as long as you're on the drugs, then you can't fight me back. If you own the drug, you can't fight me back. Huh? Zubuya, my first name is Felicia. My nickname is Fifi. People who really know me, like a few people in the chat that know me personally, sometimes just call me Fee. You'll see Melinda say that. You'll see Melinda call me Fee. You'll see Sandy call me Fee. You'll see Rachel call me Fee. Okay? So that's what that means, babe. So my question is, at what point does somebody just say, stop the freaking madness, dude? This is just like going cuckoo. We're going cuckoo. It's like drugs after drugs after drugs after drugs. And you know good and well y'all bringing this stuff in. You're allowing it in, man. You got the whole entire border open. I'm going to tell you something. Here's the story, and here's how it's going to look. It's going to look, this is how the story, if Mr. Naranga gets reintroduced to Washington, which I doubt that he'll ever live in that house again. But anyway, if he gets reintroduced, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be after having years, terrible years of terrible, terrible destruction. Just absolute, complete destruction. Complete destruction. I mean, tearing up the very foundation, tearing up everything, just jacking it up. Everything just getting jacked up. Terrible, 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 terrible. Terrible, 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 everything. And then what's going to happen is people who did not even like him anymore is going to be like, oh God, okay, forget it. Just let him in. Just let him come back. And then just like that movie clip that we showed a few years ago. Remember Sandy, I think it was a year or two ago, where we showed the clip of them allowing the man who was inside of a cell. And the man was old-fashioned robe like biblical times. And he went over and he told the guy, listen, do not, no matter what you do, no matter how he screams, do not open this door. Do not let him out. And he cajoled this guy to let him out. And as soon as he did, he started walking, fixing his collar. He popped his collar, got his cape together, strutted on up out of there just like George Jefferson. Hey, he was strutting like George Jefferson. After he started strutting, he put out his wings and flew. Remember that? Flew on out. He had let Satan out and didn't even realize it. All because he kept listening to his pleas and his cries and his, oh, woe is me, and oh, please let me out. And that's exactly what happened. I know we in the last days when we see this type of stuff playing out right in our presence, where they are anesthetizing the people, where they are drugging the people by way of air, by way of water, by way of any other direction it can come in. Don't get mad at me, y'all. It's just the truth. And it's the Lockhart perspective is just my perspective. That's all. I'm just one grandmother. I can't hurt nobody. I know they get a little upset, but they get a little too serious sometimes. Can't help none of that. But the truth about the matter is that this right here is criminal. You cannot help the families. You cannot, New York is not anything like what it used to be. You know, if you're a rich person and you live there, then obviously maybe that's why you're there. But for the regular standard people, man, it's not the same. You got, San Francisco overrun by drugs. You've got pockets, areas, New York overrun by drugs. Orange County, California. Certain pockets of Orange County, California. Drugs. And it's not just standard like back in the day. It's in your face. Excuse me. Walking over bodies to get into the grocery store right there in San Francisco. Walking over bodies in different places. They literally look like they are in a trance. Let me see, can I find you guys some of those videos? Let me see, can I find some news clips? They're literally in a trance. They're walking in a trance. In the United States, this place has turned into an S-hole country. It's exactly what it is, and they got more plans. Let me tell you guys what some of the plans are. When you look at the housing market right now, did I pull the housing story? I had a housing story that I wanted to pull for you guys. So when you look at the housing situation as a whole right now, one would wonder why things are the way that they are. Well, we already know what I said a while back. And that is that they allowed the new arm of the government, the CDC, to enact that whole thing about not paying the bills. So nobody paid the rent. Then the landlords got frustrated. And then these people went out and bought up all of the stuff. We are going to have a massive, 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 massive eviction and homelessness issue here. And they are creating it on purpose because nobody can afford the inner city rents that's going on right now. Nobody. I mean, you got $1,700, $1,800 rent in rural areas because these cats have walked in and purchased up lots of places. If you got houses and you don't sell your house, please, because you really don't know what you're doing. Hey, Lady M, you don't really know who you're selling it to. You don't know who you're selling it to, and they could hurt the community. I'm here to tell you right now, if you don't want nobody sleeping in your backyard, homeless, unfortunately, bless their hearts. If you don't want that, you better be careful who you sell your house to. Because it may look like it's a really nice person. We buy ugly houses. That was how they started it, by trying it like that. Then all of a sudden, now you try to go find a place to move. You have to go through a computer. You fill out an application. How do I know? Because Sandy will tell you. We were looking for a house just recently. And that was the drive we went on. Remember last week we went on the drive? Okay. So now you've got to go through the computer system. You've got to talk to them through the computer. You've got to have your background run through the computer. You give the computer your money for your rental history, right? And your credit background check. You give the computer all of that. And then the computer will send you a message back saying whether or not you are approved. You never have any, even when you call and you speak to a person on the phone, the person is in the Philippines for one company. It's called Riza or something like that. I can't even think of the name. Rizzy Homes. Yeah. They are in another country altogether. They're not even here. Hello, thank you for calling. We're so very happy that you are looking to find a place. How may we help you? My name is, something like Bertha. How can I help you? And you're like, whoa. Okay, well, I'm calling about the house on 1234, what street. Oh, I'm so glad you're calling. Let me try to find you the agent that can help you with that. Okay, so you find an agent. That agent is in one place. It's one cat or one chick. And you're only going to talk to them in English because they're here in the States, right? They may be, if you're on this coast, or maybe on Atlanta. They may be in Tennessee. They may be someplace else. So you're talking to that person, but that's all that person's going to do is talk to you. That's it. They're going to, if you can get them. Okay, if you can get them on the phone, then you say, okay, you put your application in. So good luck to you. We'll see what happens. Okay, goodbye. That's it. That's it. So the very same stuff that they would tell us not to do. Don't put your money inside of the computer. Don't do this because of scams. There's a whole lot of scam housing. Now you have to do the exact same scam housing stuff they told you not to do to get a place to live. So now you're going to be looking at $2,500 for a rundown shack. All right. Unbelievable amounts of money. Okay. Unbelievable amounts of money that you can pay. All right. So fine. Say you can slide in and you can get in for the 13 months that they want you to apply for. So you take a 13-month lease, let's say maybe $2,000 a month for 2 bedrooms. Okay. Let's just say that's for instance. At the end of that 13th month, how you know they're not going to go up? And then when they do go up, how are you going to be able to take care of that? How are you going to be able to pay it? I'm guaranteeing you guys, you mark my words on this one, we're going to have a major eviction problem in the United States. A major one. Why? Because they have allowed these people to come in here and do what they are freaking doing. And they are wrong. And we don't talk about it. It's like we know, but we can't get to the ear that matters, because all the ear that matters that's up there, all the ears up there got BS stuck in them because they are part of the issue. Even the people that we send to Washington, they ain't on their gig. So that's where phone calls need to start going. Y'all need to get on the phone. Why? Because if you have a home in a neighborhood that's got homes owned by these people, you gonna find some folks in your backyard. It's just my perspective. That's it. And that's the reason why they went after Airbnb the way that they did. That's the reason why they went after Airbnb the way that they did. Flipped them upside down. Had the dudes go crazy. They had all kinds of mess. Look into Airbnb. You're going to have a whole lot of that, Scan Family. Scan Family says they're already raising the rent around here. We're seeing multi-generational families moving together. Leaf Desi, hey. Tina Johnston Baker, hey. Mark my words. So it is incumbent upon us. It does affect us. It affects us big time. Even for those of us who own and those of us who don't have no issue, no dog in the hunt. You need to get on the phone someplace and say something to somebody. At least you said it. They may not listen. They may not change, but you said it. The very warning they gave all of us. Do not put any of your information. Please be careful for rental scams. We heard this stuff for years. Now you're doing exactly what the rental scam said don't do. What they tell you not to do, you're doing it now just to get a place. My folks' new neighbor set his yard on fire many times. The fire department came out more than I can count. He has caused 2 families to move. Omega Bison says, I keep getting text messages from the same people wanting to buy my house, and then they send letters, postcards of my house location from the front yard using Google Maps. How is that possible or even legal, right? California extended the renters moratorium again. Owners are selling. You see this? Getting big price. You see? Mama Ray, what's been going on? The guy at the governor's office regularly hangs up on me. Wait a minute, I'm laughing. Because I know that our governor in Alabama, her assistant probably more than likely knows my voice. My voice is distinct anyway, but I know she knows it's me. We are way past talking, Miss Felicia, because they have been long done listening. You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying it's time for them they got to go. Leave Desi, these southern newbies have set this place on fire once already. You see? Joyce says, my husband just built cabins for his employer for an Airbnb, $350 a night, booked to the end of the year. Yep, I can believe that. I'm sure they did. But this is just a mess. They want the whole place, right? They want the whole place. I guess the only thing that's going to really, really change is if the rightful owners stand up. Let that sit there. Yep. If the rightful owners sit up. Plays in the Dirt says, at Deborah Joy, that's frightening. Prayers coming. I lived across from a crack house once, called the cops dozens of times, told them the code with the porch light. They never did a thing, never even went there. See? All of them are. All of them are. All of them are. Ruth Morris says, Zelrin, my house in Kingman could have been rented, but I moved my granddaughter in, and she pays just the payment. Realtor send me mail, and her trying to get me to sell. Don't sell it. Y'all don't sell it. Do not sell it. Get you some good insurance. Make sure you got top notch, let's get you some top flight security of the world, Craig, type of insurance. Okay? In my social area, 2 cartel members and 1 China man show up to neighbors with a suitcase of $300,000 cash. They offered it to property owners. Wow. So, as I read your comments, it's just eye-opening. It's just eye-amazing. Zuhuya, that's amazing. Oh, yeah, that is the goal. Absolutely, Tina. Absolutely. You're right on point with that one. They will take it if they want it eventually. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, the deal is that, why should you sell? They done bought every doggone thing else. I almost said another word. They done bought every doggone thing else out yonder. Everything. Everything. Yes, that's right, Tina. That's right. You own your own home, and moving is just not an option. Man, it's a mess. It's a mess. This whole thing it just stinks to high heaven. Just stinks to high heaven. The whole thing. I was trying to look and see if we could look up the. I wanted to see the zombie looking people. They look like zombies. And what do we say? Orange County? It's just California. Let's see if I can find something, especially from the news thing here. Okay, this is not it. This is not. Oh wow. What is this? Hold on. I want to see if I can show you this. Oh, wow. Well, I can use it for commentary. Bless this person's heart who actually did this. He's in Philadelphia. It's called Kensington Avenue. Kensington Avenue, anybody? Philadelphia, Kensington Avenue. Yeah? Let me show you this. Should I show you this or should I show you this? Well, I mean, it's the typical stuff, right? It's the typical that we're used to seeing at this point. Let's just put it out there like that. But this individual took his time or her time to drive through. They've got over 2 million views on it, and it was put up last year. But the truth about the matter is they're literally walking around and they're all, on drugs. Orange County Zombie Walk. What is this? Oh no, honey, that's actually something. Looks like they had fun. They were doing some type of event. Let me see. I should take the word zombie out, but how else can I say it? Contaminated the fentanyl crisis in St. Louis. Well, contaminated fentanyl? Hey, you guys, this is a news story. It's coming from KMOV St. Louis. I want to hear this. I want to hear this story. Again, this is going to be used specifically for just for us to have a conversation commentary. We're going to talk about it from a news standpoint, and it's nothing that I own. So I'm going to let you know exactly where you can find the story. I'm going to actually share the story. Let me pull the link for it right now so that nobody has no tripping issues. But here you go. And I'm not listening to this whole thing here. No way. But we're going to listen to a few minutes of it, and I'll come in and out as it goes. But I had no idea that it was this long, for the love of Pete. What are they talking about? Whoa, wait a minute before we get started. Hold on. Bless their hearts. We got to talk about this, you guys. I know some people will get tired, but you know what? We got to talk about this because this is our country. This is our country, and this is the stuff that we need to talk about. We need to deal with these things before they zap all of us, because all of us know, those of us who are in this field that I am in here, we already know what's good. We already know. So, cry loud and spare not. All right. So this again is from KMOV St. Louis. They took their time and they put together this story. It's called Contaminated, the Fentanyl Crisis in St. Louis. And their short here says, fentanyl is the most lethal drug ever created. News 4 spent months looking into how it impacts the St. Louis community, where it comes from, and what can be done to alter its deadly path. Well, God bless them for taking the time to look into the questions and try to answer it, right? I mean, so many people. Here we go.
This has been hit particularly hard. Fentanyl is the defining drug of the overdose epidemic in St. Louis. It has no taste or smell. Even a handful of it could kill thousands of people. It reaches into every corner of society, suburbs and cities, rich and poor, black and white. Many who become addicted have no idea they're even taking it. And it's caused drug addiction in the region to spiral out of control. More than 70% of overdose deaths in the St. Louis area now involve fentanyl.
I might see a person 5 minutes, and in 5 minutes they dead because they took something that they had no idea what they was taking.
In 2019, more than 70,000 people died of a drug overdose in the United States. For perspective, imagine there was a Cardinals and Blues game on the same night and both venues were sold out. If every person in attendance died, it would be about 6,000 shy of that statistic.
Okay, so for for context purposes, I do have to jump in every few minutes because I need to make a comment on that. In order for us not to have to, go through a bunch of stuff for copyright stuff, which we are not infringing upon anybody's copyright at all. That's not the goal. But what the goal is to bring light to the fact that this is happening in a nation that claims to help every single body else. And it seems to be going right over our heads here, right over our government's heads. Well, I don't think it's going over their heads, to be honest with you. How can I say that? When you're supposed to be the ones that are responsible for changing it and it's not changing, it's getting worse. It can only get worse if you do zero or if you're a part of the problem. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and listen to some more.
Now, fast forward 2 years to 2021, and overdose deaths reached more than 107,000, the most in U.S. history.
Fentanyl is alarming. It should be alarming. It is killing people like that.
In Missouri, overdose deaths have risen drastically. Our area is the epicenter of that statewide tragedy. St. Louis City, St. Louis County, Jefferson, and Franklin counties have 4 of the 5 highest overdose death rates in Missouri.
This is North St. Louis. This place has been suffering from a thing called benign neglect. You ever heard the term benign neglect? What it simply means is if something goes wrong, I just let it. I allow it to go wrong.
We spent months looking into the local crisis. This story is told by recovering addicts.
You become more dependent and reliant on this one specific thing just to get out of bed and say hi to your family.
It wasn't tough. It was miserable. It was just horrible, man.
Those fighting for change.
Will always be a thorn in your side, pushing for what actually needs to happen.
And those left behind.
It can happen to anyone because it happened to my family and I never thought it would.
From News 4, I'm Matt Woods, and this is Contaminated, the fentanyl crisis in St. Louis.
When I look back, I think there was a lot of depression that he may have had, and he always hid everything. Like, he always wanted to be happy around his family and stuff. Never wanted anyone to see him sad or upset about anything. Easygoing, laid back, soft-spoken. Everyone says he had an infectious smile and a really sweet person. Everyone wanted to be his friend.
Robbie was an avid skateboarder, and other kids looked up to him because of it.
If you would ask him about stuff, he would say, "Oh, I'm good. Everything's good. Everything's fine."
So it's showing here that, a lot of the children that are being affected by this, especially, come from pretty decent neighborhoods. They come from pretty decent homes, and for whatever the reason, they end up with this as an issue. I really feel like at schools and things of that nature, and then first of all, when you look at television shows, when you look at the cartoons, when you even look at some of the trash that's the TikTok deal and all those different things, there are so many jokes that they make lightly about specific types of things. I mean, there's even movies that are made about drugs in the United States in a very lighthearted way that does not lend to the depths of the sinkhole that your life will plunge into if you ever even begin to touch the stuff, right? These movies don't even tell you the truth about it. They just sort of lightly make you laugh. I mean, there was like Half Baked and a whole lot of other shows back in the day and all those different kinds of things. But the deal is this is a standard mom. This is a standard mom, and her baby is gone. Her child is gone. But it starts very small and tiny. You know what I mean? And it starts very young. It starts with children being very young, not getting it, not understanding, and then all of a sudden they're trapped. So I'm going to go ahead and go a little forward in the story here and see where it takes us. So let me go on ahead and pull it up for you. I want to hear. Let's hear what he says.
So whatever they was into, I was into it. Didn't know what I was getting myself into. When I got 15, it was like, okay, I was at that age that where, I can.
Oh, let me go back because he's saying some stuff that's what I want to hear.
It goes back from me being an only child, no brothers, no sisters, a lot of cousins. So I looked up to cousins. So whatever they was into, I was into it. Didn't know what I was getting myself into. When I got 15, it was like, okay, I was at that age that where, I can jumping off the porch. So they was like, okay, here. It was basically just here. Try this.
You see what I mean? Here, try this.
Like 20s and 25. I was the youngest. Yeah, I was the youngest out of the whole crew. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just watching. That's how it happens, man. These weren't like regular friends. These was actually family members. And every day from that day, it was constantly just doing it. Because one thing about the drug, when you doing this drug every day, your body is getting immune, so you gotta have it.
She was just everything. I mean, she had a kind heart. She loved life. She loved people. She wanted to help people. She loved her friends and her family. I know I was her favorite. She was my everything. And,
lives are just being totally destroyed by
would always
these
call me and
occurrences.
want to know how I'm doing, what I'm doing, are you okay, Mom? And stuff like that. So I know she loved me very much.
Patty's daughter, Jessica, struggled with addiction for more than a decade. Patty fought for years to get back the daughter she recognized.
The first years weren't so bad. I mean, I knew she was doing stuff. I, would get on her. Well, I don't know what you're doing, but as it got worse, I mean, I wouldn't know where she was. It's a nightmare. There's so many times I'd lay in bed and wonder where she is, and you expect a phone call because she did overdose quite a few times, and I'd get a call.
Every 7 minutes and 22 seconds, someone dies of a fentanyl overdose in the U.S. That means someone died since you started watching this video.
There was one particular time over here at Festus Hospital, I got a call and I went over there and somebody had dropped her off in the parking lot and stuck a needle in her breast of all places.
My God.
But I think they did that so they would know what she was there for. One of the nurses just frankly told her, you know what, we about bagged you. She was out of it. She was basically almost dead that time.
Addiction is so much more difficult to treat than, say, infections or other conditions. But this is one disorder that throws a patient into a survival mode. And survival is the worst thing that can happen to a human being in a survival mode. And I describe that as a form of internal homelessness. They have, they're not literally on the street, but the disorder has made them do things that only a person in a survival mode would do.
So I fell into addiction early in life. I came from a broken home, parents were divorced, got separated. My father was an abusive alcoholic. After my parents split, I started getting emotional abuse from my mom, and I kind of fell into addiction early on, about 11, 12 years old, smoking weed real heavily, drinking alcohol. At the age of 14, I was shooting cocaine. I just kept moving from one drug to the other. The first time I ever used heroin,
Okay, we're going to pull off of this just a bit. And the purpose for that is I don't want to trigger people. And I know that there are a lot of people that are in the chat that have family members who have passed away of this, children who they've lost, loved ones who they've lost. And I know that it is a triggering topic, and that's not my goal. My goal is to share with everybody the fact that our government is allowing, has not done enough to crack down on anything. The war on drugs ended up being a war on the people who were using the drugs, as opposed to stopping the stuff from coming in. And I have to just honestly say that as I look at this documentary, which is very good, by the way, the liner notes, the notes are already there with this. I put the entire channel that you can find this on. Okay. I put all the information about this there. I haven't put the other stuff in there yet, but this is definitely in the notes right now. But this is the heinous, heinous reality of what America is and what America has become, and how we have let the most vulnerable let them down. How as a country we have let the most vulnerable down. You have mothers who've lost their children. It's so sad when you see whole families that are totally destroyed. And here's the deal. Every day people get up and go to work. They're just trying to make it. Nobody's trying to do anything better than anybody else. They're simply trying to live their lives, take care of their families and their children. And this is the shit. Excuse my French, I said it. But this is the shit that they have to deal with their kids going to school on a daily basis. I know you guys don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. This is the truth. This is what their children are dealing with on a daily basis. You got kids that are being jumped into this type of stuff, and you've got a government who has an entire southern border wide open. And the amount of fentanyl that has been coming in here over the past couple of months is insane. So who cares is the question. Why don't they care? It's all a bunch of talk. They tell us what they want us to know. Meanwhile, they keep going. They just keep going. And it doesn't stop. It does not stop. Now look here. If you get upset about one little small cuss word, I know you ain't been on Monograph channel. And I know you ain't hung out with my homeboy Roy much. Okay? Real talk. But this right here infuriates me. This right here makes me very angry. When I see this kind of stuff, and then I hear the garbage rhetoric, I hear all the garbage. It's just garbage. Garbage. It's all garbage. The stuff they say is garbage. It's trash. You know, I just did a story, a month ago? Talking about the two men that were coming through from Washington State in through California who had, 155,000 pills of fentanyl? Was that what it was? I think it was 155,000. These dudes were let go. As if all they had was 2 Pez dispensers full of candy or bubble gum. This is real talk. And I mean, it can't get no realer than this. And I don't think enough people are really into talking about it right now because it's such a painful topic. It's a painful situation. It's awful. It really is. But they're killing our kids. You got grandchildren, 11, 12, 13 years old. So now you sit here and you see what New York is doing. This is their fix. Did you hear how they presented the story? We just read it. Their fix was, here you go. Here's something that'll dull the pain. And as it dulls the pain, you're going to need more of the other stuff that you got hooked on. And you can take as much and as much and as much. Eventually, you won't be here. And it's a whole part of our Depop. That's what we want to happen. Okay? This video can't even stay up. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to make this private, take it down, or do something. Because I tell you right now, when it comes to this kind of stuff, I am not nice about it. It is not good. This is trash. This is our nation doing this to its own. So who do we got upstairs? Who's over there? Who's really out there? Who's really running the joint? What's the real goal? We all tiptoeing around it, but we already know it's infiltrated. We already know it ain't home no more. We already know that it's just a matter of time before the leaseholder come up and pop up. When the leaseholder pop up, it's going to be on and popping. Because when the leaseholder really come up, when the owner really get here, oh, it's going to be on and popping. It's going to be on and popping. If they're doing these types of things so blatantly, can you only imagine what they're going to be doing? Let me show you something. I want to show you guys something. I want to show you this right here. Need not citizen, CI. Okay, look at this. I want you to see something. Here you go. I just want to read this again. I just want to go over this. This was from April 28th, 2022. All right? And I want to show you something. You got to put these pieces together because the whole thing is one whole ball. You see, they're aware of the ball. You don't know what the ball looks like. But here's some pieces. We've all seen parts of it. But let me give you some more pieces. Look at this right here. Look at this. This is BS. Where's my button? See, that's the reason why Sandy brought me the button. Because she knows my favorite word when I get ticked. That's all they selling. And if somebody get mad about it, then you really got some problems. Because if you can't see what's going on around you and a word like that bug you, baby, you got bigger problems. We got bigger fish to fry. The California State Senate voted to allow people who aren't United States citizens to be police. Some more conservative voices say the government authority should be embodied by citizens. Let me come back over here to you. Now are you getting the whole picture? They destroying it all, and then they're going to give you people who are not of this place, who will do whatever they are told. So although we know we got this right, that right, we got this right, we got that right, we talk about this, and we're Americans, and we've got this amendment, and we got that amendment, I got a constitutional right. Let me tell you something. These jokers ain't going to care. Now add to that a couple of blue hats. Couple of blue hats from Somalia, or a couple of blue hats from another few places where they got them, where they just don't care. For years, police departments have been trying to diversify their ranks, trying to hire more officers who are not white and male. Today, the California State Senate voted to make it possible for police departments to hire people who are not U.S. citizens. Mind blown. Mind just gone. Can't get it. This is in the United States, and other countries are cracking up laughing at us. Martin cased byline. The U.S. citizenship has been a long presumed condition of employment for sworn police officers. Most states make it an explicit requirement. One of them is California, but now the majority Democrats in the state legislature are working to remove that condition. State Senator Nancy Skinner says she introduced the bill. Crackhead communist. She introduced the bill when she heard about police departments unable to hire non-citizens who were otherwise qualified. Well, there's a reason why they're not qualified. They're not citizens. Nancy Skinner says, quote, given that we allow this same category of people to serve in the military, really? Okay. That's where you're going? That's where you're headed there? You're going to use that argument? That's the argument you're using. Hey, Sarah. Okay? Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that person that they hire coming from a different country, do you think that person is going to enforce if somebody says leave them alone? If they're out there selling drugs or using drugs, let them be. Over on street X, Y, or Z and this block and this grid, don't bother nobody. If they selling or they using in this area, leave them alone. Do you think that they're going to go out there and try to, make things right? Do you think that they're going to say, well, this is wrong with what they just told us to do? We got to go over and stop this anyway. No, they're not. They're not going to stop it anyway. They're going to keep it pushing. All right. So Nancy Skinner says, given that we allow this same category of people to serve in the military, to serve in so many other professions, there's no reason to deny a person who is otherwise legally authorized to work for serving as a police officer, as a peace officer. Here's the deal. You guys know the country that you want them to come from already, don't you? And you already know what you want them to do, don't you? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Case says, quote, the bill is aimed at non-citizens who have the legal right to work here, such as permanent residents. Here's the deal. If we already have Americans who can do the doggone job, why are we even looking to do this? Because they already know who they want to come in and rule with an iron fist in the state of California. That's why. That's why. That's why. Such as permanent residents who haven't naturalized, or people who came illegally as children, but now have work permission under the DACA program. The California Police Chiefs Association supports the change. Like chiefs across the country, they're struggling to find enough new recruits. Hey, Marty, Sarah, MW3516405. Okay? And that's all this is about. Here, right here, the statement that you just said. That's what it's really about. Because if you got that system in place, then who are they going to tell? When you call and say, Bobby is missing or Sally is missing or who are they going to get? Who? Come on now, y'all. See the whole picture. See the whole picture. And if it happens in one state, especially California, New York will be next if they haven't already started. So like chiefs across the country, they're struggling to find new recruits. But some opponents doubt that this is really about staffing. The immigration restriction group, Californians for Population Stabilization, calls this an effort to, quote, blur the lines between citizens and non-citizens. Others oppose the bill on a philosophical ground. For instance, Republican State Senator Rosalie Rocha Baugh says, quote, there is a reason why there are certain spaces that require people to be 18 years old or 21 years old, U.S. citizens, and so forth. Baugh goes on to say, and that's because when you take that oath to become a citizen of this country, you're swearing an allegiance to this country and what it stands for. Kay says, but during the debate today, on the Senate floor, Democrat Sidney Kamlager, called it hypocrisy to celebrate diversity while insisting that only citizens can be police. You're trying to take over the doggone country, a lying law at a time. You try to, it's bullying the American citizens into believing this garbage. You bullying us is what they're doing. They take one little thing and beat you over the head with it. You know you are racist and you don't like regular people. This is hypocrisy. You say you want to celebrate diversity. Well, look what you're doing. And then the people go, oh, yeah, okay. Californians, where you at? What you doing? Sydney Camlogger says, and I would just like to remind my colleagues that it was full-blooded American citizens who stormed January 6th. I gotta get off of this one. No, it wasn't. It was paid actors, period. I said it. How about that? I'm not gonna play y'all game. Y'all know you had them actors. Everybody up there know. Period. Said it. Said it. I'm not buying the garbage no more. You guys are tearing up the country, and you're doing it on purpose. You're tearing it up on purpose. Y'all give me some likes. Please make sure you put some likes down there, please. Hit that like button. Share it if you can share it. Get it out while you can. Okay? All right. That's right. There's something weird about the AH car crash. She had a movie coming out in September called The Girl in Room 13. I don't know. It could be. I just thought that it was sacrificial in nature, is what I thought. But you just might be right. But I just know that right now. Yes, Cheyenne. Yes, Cheyenne. Exactly. Where are the cameras? Where are the cameras? Max Vision Remote Viewing says, you're fired up, Fifi, and I love it. Okay. All right. All right. The women and babies are flown back. Is that Tapachula? Okay. To pick up their next single man to drop off a soldier. You see? So yeah, it's a hot rump mess. A hot rump mess. The whole thing stinks. Yeah. The whole thing stinks. There you go. That's right. Texlahoma girl. That's right. Up is down. Down is up. Right is left. Left is right. Right is wrong. Wrong is right. Bad is good. Good is bad. It's a mess. It's a huge mess. The whole thing is just a mess, and it stinks to high heaven. But listen, you guys, we are 36 minutes past the time. I don't like to hold you guys over an hour, and you know that. And so I apologize for that. Sandy Aaron says, at Headlines with a Voice, Roy has info about the H crash on his Twitter. Really? Okay. I think I'm going to go check him out. But I just appreciate you guys. I just want to let y'all know I appreciate y'all for just letting me be me. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys for not putting me in this godlike space, because that's not who I am. I am a person that breathes, that eats, that drinks their water the same way that you do. Okay? I'm a human just like you guys. And I just want to thank you guys for loving me and, allowing me into your spaces as you guys do, as you so awesomely do. And I just appreciate you. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. I appreciate you guys for coming in like you guys do and supporting the channel. I just appreciate all of you and love each and every one of you guys. I really, truly do. For those of you that I miss calling your name out, what's that? AFJ Third. Hey, strong forever. Hey, Robert and Stahl, round the bend. Hey, okay. But you guys are what makes it all. You guys are the reason why. And I just appreciate it. You really are. Okay. You are so welcome, Joy. You are so welcome, Bethany. Okay. All right. All of you guys are the business. So I thank you for not putting me on this pedestal, that you can allow me to be me. And that just makes everything a lot easier for me and for you. Because if I need to bring you some truth, I need to be able to come on and just lay it down and give it to you and call it a day. All right. And that's how it needs to be, because not a lot of people these days are being real and truthful and honest. We're sort of tiptoeing and hoping. We're sort of tiptoeing and crossing the fingers. Oh, let's just see what's going to happen. Oh, let's just gonna see what's going to happen. It's a hot mess. Okay. It's a hot mess. All right, you guys, we're going to get on up out of here. And remember what we always say, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yah. Don't take it from me. Take it from him. I want you guys to take care of yourselves first. Then after you do that, you'll be able to take care of everybody else. But you cannot take care of nobody else. Like I always say, if mama and daddy bear ain't okay, then the cubs ain't going to be all right. Your nephews, your nieces, your mama and them and everybody else, they not going to be all right. Ain't nobody going to be all right. You got to take care of you first. All right. Then I want y'all to make sure y'all call y'all's governor's office this month and say, hey, what's this week? What's going on with the housing situation? Why y'all allowing all of this to go on? What's up? What have you got? What's your plans? What are your plans to stop this? This is a bit monopolizing, don't you think? How do you have only like 2 or 3 companies coming in here buying every doggone thing out? Or you got one company that's sending out more of their arsenal under different titles. Okay, the same company, but they're sending out all their brother companies. What's good? You're allowing this country to be purchased by outside governments. Plain and simple. That don't give a rip about any of us. So I guess what are we going to be, drones or cattle in a minute here? Is that what the plan is? Just to turn us into drones or cattle? Maybe. I don't know. All right, you guys. Y'all take care of yourselves.
To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you